This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Yeah, good to Vach. Rishus the Yeshiva Shlita. We'll begin. There's an interesting machlokes achronim whether Mishenichnas Hadar Marben B'Simcha applies to Adar Aleph. Pashtus, it should not apply. Rashi at the end of Tainus says on the words Mishenichnas Adar Marben B'Simcha, Rashi says Purim or Pesach. It's a Pella. Rashi's a Pella. We're in Purim and Pesach. Pesach's not an Adar. Pesach is a Nisan. So Rabbi Emden writes in a tshuva, he gives two mahalchim. But Rabbi Emden writes, the reason why Rashi says Pesach is because Rashi is wondering, what do you do in Adar Rishon? So Rashi adds Pesach to teach that Dafka Adar Hasamuch L'Nisan, you start Mishenichnas Adar Mar Mesimcha, doesn't apply to Adar Rishon. So if you want to be grouchy and grumpy now, according to Rabbi Emden, you'd be allowed to. I found in a tshuva, the Chaim Sofer ends off a tshuva, Aleph, Rosh Chodesh, Adar Rishon, Shemar bin B'Simcha. So Chaim Sofer doesn't discuss the issue. He just, in signing off on the tshuva, Chaim Sofer is clear that Mishenichnas Adar Mar B'Simcha begins with Adar Rishon. I want to speak about an Inyan tonight. It's a very deep Inyan. So for B'nai Torah, you have to maybe hot cup a little bit, but it's a very lofty subject. The Gemara says in Masechta Megillah Daf Daled, Amar Rabbi Shua ben Levi, if you have a sheet, it's number 4. Chayiv Adam Likros Megillah B'Laylo L'Shnoisa B'Yom. You have to read the Megillah in the night, and L'Shnoisa B'Yom. Shenemar Elokai Ekra Yoimam V'Loi Saneh V'Layla V'Loi Dumiyali. That's from Kapitel Chaf Beis of Tehillim. Parak Chaf Beis of Tehillim is Lam Natseach Al Ayelas HaShachar Mizmar L'Dav. The Gemara in Yuma says it's referring to the miracle of Purim. And the pasuk says, Elokai Ekra Yoimam V'Loi Saneh V'Layla V'Loi Dumiyali. Rebbeinu Shem, I call out during the day and you don't answer, in the night and there's no respite. By the way, we all know you have to read the Megillah twice. If there's a big question in the Achronim, Megillas Laila, is it Midivrei Nevi'im? Is it Mitakonas Mardechai Esther? Or is it only Midrabanan? And there are many nafkaminas in halacha. One nafkamina, the Shaarei brings from the Pri Megadim, if you're Masupik, if you lay in the Megillah or not. Say, well, what's the Shaila? Safek Drabanan L'Kula. No, Mishnah Berurah says, Divrei Kabbalah K'divrei Torah Damya. Anything that's Midivrei Nevi'im has a status of Da'iraisa L'gabe Safek. For Megillas Hayoim, for sure, if you're Masupik, you have to lay in again. But Balayla, is it Midivrei Nevi'im or is it Midrabanan? So now, Yehuda has a tshuva. The Shagasari writes in the Turei Even, it's only Midrabanan. It's only Midrabanan. If you're Masupik, if you lay in the Megillah at night, Safek Drabanan L'Kula. By the way, the Ran writes that for the Kvarim that advanced the laning of the Megillah to the earlier Monday and Thursday, they only were Masakin to lane it during the day. The Kvarim don't B'chlal lane the Megillah at night. There are many nafkaminas. There are L'chol HaPachais 8 or 9 nafkaminas halacha, whether the Kriyas Halayla is Midrabanan or Midivrei Nevi'im. But L'maisa, the Gemara says, Chayiv likrois es Megillah b'layla v'l'shnoisa b'yoyim. Listen to the Gemara's Havamina. Savor mina l'mekaria b'layla u'lemisna masnisan tida b'yamama. They thought that it means to lay in the Megillah at night and to learn the Mishnayos during the day. Now, according to the Achronim, think about what this means. That at night you lay in the Megillah, and the day you would read the Mishnah l'chayra midivrei Nevi'im. Meaning the Iker Takana of Megillah would be that at night you lay in the Megillah, maybe that's only Midrabanan, and the Iker Megillah, you would learn the Mishnah. Can you imagine everybody would come to Shul for the Iker Kriya? Megillah Nikres, B'yad Aleph, B'yad Beis, B'yad Gimel, B'yad Daled, Loi Pach, B'yad B'tesav, Loi Pachais, V'loi Yoiser. So Gemara said, no, you made a mistake. Amar Reb Yirmiyah, L'didi Mefarshili Minei Reb Chia bar Abba, K'goyin Da'amri Inshi, Ever Parsha Sada Va'asnei. V'lishnoisa doesn't mean to learn the Mishnah. It means to repeat. You lay in the Megillah at night, and you repeat during the day. But what was the Havamina of the Gemara? You know, a Havamina is a big thing. Some people don't say Tachnon on the 16th and 17th of Adar because the Gemara had a Havamina of Eimar Shitzar V'Shivsar. In Bells, they don't say Tachnon on the 16th and the 17th because the Gemara's Havamina. Havamina is a big thing. By the way, the Granat would say, the Iker Limud is the Havamina. The Iker Shita is the Havamina. The Maskana is only moving off a tiny bit from the Havamina. But the Svara Chitzoina is Be'ikr the Havamina. The answer is just moving off because of a small question. That means the Gemara had a Havamina, the Iker Kriyas HaMegillah is to learn the Mishnah. What's the pshat? To learn the Mishnah? When do we ever publicly learn the Mishnah? What Yom Tif do we ever get together and from the Bima we read the Mishnah? When is there ever a takana to learn any Tar Shabbat Peh? Never is there any takana to learn specifically any Tar Shabbat Peh. But more than that, there's Yushalmi. The Yushalmi says on a pasuk in the Megillah, V'mei hapurim ha'ela lo yavru mitoicha Yehudim, v'zichram lo yasuf mizaram. The Yushalmi says, an amazing Yushalmi. Look at number 2. Shimon Barba b'shem Rabbi Yochanan. V'zichram lo yasuf mizaram mikan shekavula chachamim mesechta. From the pasuk in the Megillah, we learn that the chachamim were koiveya al mesechta. This is an anomaly we don't find anywhere in the Torah Shebachsav that the Torah Shebachsav says there needs to be Torah Shabbat Peh. Of course there's Masechta Psachim, but it doesn't say in Parshas Boy there needs to be Masechta Psachim. Of course there's Masechta Yuma, but it doesn't say in Achrei Mois there has to be Yuma. It doesn't say in Emor there has to be Masechta Rosh Hashanah. Of course there's Torah Shabbat Peh, but nowhere in the Torah Shebachsav does the Torah Shebachsav say there has to be Torah Shabbat Peh. But by Megillah, we darshan midivrei neviim, there has to be a Masechta. What's the pshat? Why does the Torah Shebachsav say there has to be a Torah Shabbat Peh? So there's a Gra. There are many versions of the Gra. There are many nuschais of the Gra. The Lashon of the Mishnah, Megillah Nikreis b'Yid Aleph, b'Yid Beis, b'Yid Gimel, b'Yid Al, b'Tesvav, Loi Pachais v'Loi Yoiser. The Gra doesn't say this, but l'chayr he's bothered by this. What do you mean not less and not more? It should say not earlier and not later. Loi koidem v'loi ma'uchar. What do you mean not less and not more? And Rashi says, pe'amim bazeh u'pe'amim bazeh. What's Rashi getting at? What, I would think you need to learn it all 5 days. What's pe'amim bazeh, pe'amim bazeh? So there are different nuschos of the Gra, and the Iker one I'm telling you tonight is from the Sefer Yimei HaPurim of David Chaim. If you could get one Sefer on Purim, you should get Yimei HaPurim of David. When I was a Bacher, Yimei HaPurim was like a kunshas. You know? It was about maybe, I don't remember exactly, something like 12 mamarim. I think now it's about 50 mamarim. Rav David Cohen quotes a manuscript of the Gra that is found in Moscow. Rav David Cohen was like the world's biggest baki in Kisvei HaGra. The Gaon says like this: Yud Aleph, Yud Beis, Yud Gimel, Yud Al, Tesvav is a remez. If you add up Yud Aleph, Yud Beis, Yud Gimel, Yud Al, Tesvav, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, you get 65. Megillah Nikreis, the Megillah is laned the 65. What's 65? Shem Adnos, Aleph, Daled, Nun, Yud. Gematria of Aleph, Daled, Nun, Yud, Shem Adnos is 65. The Megillah is laned with 65. There are different ways of saying it, by the way. One is Megillah Nikreis b'Yud Aleph. Yud Aleph is somehow the Vav and the K of the Yud K Vav K, the Shlah says. Or B'Tesvav. B'Tesvav is the Yud K. But in between Yud K and Vav K, Yud Aleph, Yud Beis, Yud Gimel is Gematria 39. Lamed Tes is Layit is Urur Haman. But that's not really Mavara where we're going. We're going to go with the Gra. The Gra says if you add up 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15, you get 65. Megillah Nikreis, the 65, B'Shem Adnos, Loi Pachos v'Loi Yoiser. Not 10 and not 16. What's 10 and 16? Shem Havaya. There's no Shem Havaya in the Megillah. That's the Gra. The Gra says Megillah Nikreis, B'Yad Aleph, B'Yad Beis, B'Yad Gimel, B'Yad Al, B'Tesvav. The Megillah is read b'Shem Adonus, but not Pachos, not Yosef, not 10 and 16:26, Shem Havaya. We know the Shem Havaya doesn't appear in the Megillah. You don't lay in the Megillah with the Shem Havaya. Even though there are many Ramazim to the Shem Havaya, the Arizal brings many, many Ramazim to the Shem Havaya in the Megillah. If you want like a Kitzer, in the Kav HaYashar, he brings all the times, Arizal says the Shem Havaya is Merumas in the Megillah, Yavai, Hamelech, V'Haman, Hayoim. That's forwards. Backwards is Ki, Cholsa, Elav, Hara, is Soifei Tevois. They're different. V'Cholzeh, Einenu, Shoy Veli, is Shem Havaya, backward, B'Soifei Tevois. There are many, many Ramazim to the Shem Havaya, but openly, we do not say the Shem Havaya in the Megillah. That's the Gra, Be'ikr, in number 10, in the manuscript of the Gra that was found in Moscow. Okay? The obvious question on the Gra is it's very nice, of course, loy pachos v'loy yoysa. We don't lay in the Megillah, not 10 and not 16, not the Shem Havaya, but we also don't lay in the Megillah b'Shem Adonus. There's no Aleph Dal non Yud in the Megillah. So what does the Gra mean? Megillah Nikreis, b'Yud Aleph, b'Yud Beis, b'Yud Gimel, b'Yud Al, b'Tesvav. The Megillah is read with 65. It's not read with 65. There's no Shem Adonus in the Megillah either. The same way there's no Havaya, there's no Shem Adonus. But the answer is, the Medrash tells us, that whenever it says Hamelech Achashverosh, it's talking about Melech Achashverosh. And whenever it says Hamelech, it's the Ribbon Shalom. Okay, but how does that translate into Adonus? It seems that there are many Mekoros that what does Adonus mean? What does Adonus mean? What does it mean Hashem is Adoin Koil? It's Malchus. Adonus means Malchus. There are many Mekoros for this. The Noid Behuda writes in the Tzlach, the Shem Aleph Daled, if you look at number 17, Hu Adoin v'hakol avodav v'zeh moira al malchusai. Adonus refers to Hashem as Melech. So when we say Hashem is Adoin Koil, we refer to him as Adonus. So that's what it means. Megillah Nikreis, b'Yud Aleph, b'Yud Beis, b'Yud Gimel, b'Yud Daled, b'Tesvav. Where do we have Adonus in the Megillah? Melech. Vayomer HaMelech, HaMelech. Melech is Adonus. But there's no Havaya in the Megillah. Why is there no Havaya in the Megillah? So we have to understand a little bit what's the difference between Adonus and the Shem Havaya. The Maharal says very simply, Shem Havaya is Hashem's ability to change nature, to override the laws of nature, to be Mahaveh Kol Havayas, to make Nisim Gluyim. That's the Shem Havaya. We know there are no open miracles in the Megillah. You can't point to any one episode and say, the Rebbeinu Shem was Mashana the Teva. But everything was in the guise of Teva. It was all B'Shem Malchus. It was Ba'adnos. That's the meaning. Megillah, Nikreis, B'Yud Aleph, B'Yud Beis, B'Yud Gimel, B'Yud Daled, B'Tezvav. The whole Megillah is couched in Teva. It's B'Shem Adnos. Loi Pachos v'lo Yoser. The Shem Havaya is not apparent in the Megillah. So what's the relationship between Adnos and Havaya? This is very important. You know, when we read the Sefer Torah, or we say a bracha, we say Baruch Atah Adoi and then Noi. So what's Pshat? We're not saying, it doesn't say that in the Siddur, it doesn't say that in the Sefer Torah. It says Yud Kei Vav Kei. So what's the connection between Adnos and Yud Kei Vav Kei? So the Gemara darshans, Zeh Shemi La'olam, V'zeh Zichri L'dar V'dar. L'olam Ksiv. The Zeh Shemi La'olam. The etzem Shem of Hashem, the essence of Hashem is the Shem Havaya. That's Shemi. Zichri, the way you pronounce it, the way you say it, is L'dar V'dar, is open, is for all generations. So you could clear a chakira on this, a very important chakira. When you're leaning from the Torah, and you see Yud Kei Vav Kei, is the pshat, it says Yud Kei Vav Kei, but it's a Kri Ksiv. It says Yud Kei Vav Kei. But you read it, Aleph Daled Nun Yud. You read it a different word. Maybe the nafkamina would be. Do you even have to look at the word? Because if it's a Kri Ksiv, and it doesn't say Aleph Daled Nun Yud, and I'm saying it, it's Tar Shabbat Peh. Or is the pshat, It's not a kriksiv. The way you read the letters, yud, and then a hey, and then a vav, and a k, the way you read it is aleph, daled, nun, yud. It's not a kriksiv. You need to be looking at those letters. The way the Rebbeinu Shalom wants us, it's not like other words. You have nar, and we read it na'ara. That's a kriksiv. Kriksiv is, it says one thing, you read something else. But maybe the way you read the letters, Yud Kei Vav Kei, is you read it Aleph Daled Nun Yud. It's a very interesting Rambam. In Hilchos Avodah Zarah, Perek Beis Halacha Zayin, if you look at number 22. The Rambam's talking about a Megadef. Megadef is someone who pronounces the name of Hashem, the proper name of Hashem, Yud Kei Vav Kei, and they're mekalel the Yud Kei Vav Kei with one of the Sheva Shemos Sheinam Nimchakim. Okay, so they say clear, they're Noikev Hashem, they pronounce clearly the Yud Kei Vav Kei, and they use one of the Sheva Shemos Sheinam Nimchakim, Tzavakos, Shakai, and they use that shame, any shame, to Chas V'Sham, be mekalel the Yud Kei Vav Kei. The Rambam has a shaila, what if they use one of the Sheva Shemos Sheinam Nimchakim to be mekalel Aleph Daled Nun Yud Chas V'Sham? So the Rambam is mesupik in Hilchos Avodah Zarah. The Rambam says that if you look in 21, look in number 21, Hilchos Avodah Zarah, Perek Beis Halacha Zayin. Ve'elu hein dinei megadef. Ein ha-megadef chayev, skila, ad sheyefarish as Hashem ha-miyuchad, shel arba oisiyos, even Aleph Daled Nun Yud, and you're mevarech. That means Chas V'Sham to be mekalel with one of the Sheva Shem Sheinam Nimchakim. Then the Rambam says, V'yesh mi shemefaresh she'enoi chayiv ella on the Yud Kei Vav Kei. So very interesting. The Rambam doesn't typically bring two dayos. Here the Rambam brings two opinions, and then the Rambam is machriya. V'ani oimer she'al shneim hu niskal. I hold, says the Rambam, you get skila for both. So the Brisker Rav wants to know, what's the Rambam shaila? Does Aleph Daled Nun Yud count? Does it not count? Why ultimately does the Rambam conclude that if you're mekalel shem adnos, you do get skila? So the Brisker Rav says the chakira that we already mentioned. In order to be chayiv for being megadef, it has to be one is megadef chas v'sham the Yud Kei Vav Kei. But how do you look at Aleph Daled Nun Yud? Is Aleph Daled Nun Yud the Yud Kei Vav Kei? It's just that the Messiah is, you read it this way. It's not a Krieg Siv. The way you say Yud Kei Vav Kei is Aleph Daled Nun Yud. And then if you're Mekalel Chas Hashem Aleph Daled Nun Yud, you meet the bill. You were Mekalel, the Yud Kei Vav Kei. Or is the Pshat? No, it's just a Krieg Siv. Aleph Daled Nun Yud is not really connected to the Shem Havaya. And the Rambam concludes, no. Aleph Daled Nun Yud is the way that we read the Shem Havaya. So let's just explain very simply. I'll give you a mashal. You know, so the King of England was coronated sometime this year. Did people see him? Some people maybe saw him. Some people didn't. Even people who didn't see him saw the chariot. If you see the chariot, you know the king's inside. They don't ride an empty chariot. The chariot is the medium with which sometimes people relate to the Melech. Or, not everybody sees the President of the United States, but if you see Air Force One on the runway, you see it flying, you know the President's there. Lahavdil, the essence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the Shem Havaya, is the Yud Kei Vav Kei. But the Heichal, the chariot, the medium with which we could relate and understand HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Aleph Daled Nun Yud. He's the master of everything. You might not understand, you might not comprehend, you might not be masig, but one thing we understand, the world belongs to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He's the Melech. How he operates, Nistar Darkei Hashem. But that he runs the show, that he's the Melech, that's how we relate to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Gemara says, Adnos Aleph Daled Nun Yud is Gematria Heichal. Heichal, Adnos, Aleph Daled Nun Yud is the house, is the medium, is the carriage and hidden within is the Shem Havaya. That's the understanding of Adnos and Shem Havaya. In fact, Rabbi Yitzchak Isaac Chava writes on the Gemara Nadarim, the Gemara says, "V'zorcha lochem yirei shemi, elu b'nei adam shem yirein lahoitzi shem shamayim levatala." That Hashem is going to shine the sun. The end of the pasuk is Shemesh Tzedakah Marpeh. The Rebbe Hashem is going to shine the sun on those who are afraid to say the name of Hashem in vain. So Rabbi Yitzchak Isaac Chaver says, what does the fact that someone's afraid to mention Hashem's name in vain have to do with the sun shining on them? So he says this idea, the physical sun is a physical being. It shines light on us. It warms us. Inside, hidden in the Shemesh, is the Ar Haganos. So too, says Rabbi Yitzchak Isaac Chaver, the essence of Hashem is the Shem Havaya. The Adnos is just the outer sheath, is like the Heichal of the Shem Havaya. So if someone is careful not even to say the Shem Adnos, the reward is the sun will shine on them b'derech refuah. But that's the mashal. That's the mashal. So let's cut to the chase. The Rebbe Hashem gave Klal Yisrael a Torah shebachsav and a Torah shebal peh. Is one Torah more connected to one of the Shemos of Hashem than the other? So Reb David Cohen uncovers an amazing Gaon, an amazing Vilna Gaon. I don't think it's published anywhere. They printed it in something called Kovetz Tzifunais Chidushim from the Gaon. The Gaon says Rebbe Hashem has two Shemos, Shem Havaya and the Shem Adnos. How many books are in the Torah Shebachsav? Chaf Daled. Yeah, it's a Rashi in this week's Parsha. Yeah? Rashi says, Vayitein al Moshe kechalois l'daber imay. Rashi says, Ma kala mekashetes mekushetes b'chaf daled kishutin av talmid chacham tzarich liyos baki b'chaf daled svarim. Rashi says 24 books. But the Gemara says, if you add the Shnei Luchos, it's 26. Torah shebechsav is the Shem Havaya. How many Masechtos are there? So usually the Medrash says, Shishim Hema Malachos, Shishim Masechtos. Usually there's a Masorah, 60 Masechtos. The Gemara says actually, there's 61 Masechtos, but if Kulay Nazikin Chad Masechtahi. But if you count Baba Kama, Baba Metzia, Baba Basra, Yehei Liboy, Gas Bahem, there's Gas, 63 Masechtos. But in some Midrashim, the same way Baba Kama, Baba Metzia, Baba Basra is 3 Masechtos, Kalem is also 3 Masechtos, is 30 Prakim in Kalem. So in total, the Gaon says there's 65 Masechtos in Shas. 65 Keneged Shem Adnos. Torah Shebechsav is the Shem Havaya. Torah Shebal Peh is the Shem Adnos. The mashal being that the essence of Chochma Salekis is in Torah Shebechsav. But we can't understand it, we can't relate to it, we can't be masig without the Havana, the Torah Shebal Peh. So the same way the Shem Adnos is the Heichal for the Shem Havaya, the same way we can't be masig the essence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu without the Shem Adnos, we can't be masig Torah Shebechsav without the Havana of the Torah Shebal Peh. It's the same analogy. So in other words, the Masechtos of Shas, the 65 Masechtos, are the Heichal to help us understand the essence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which is the Torah Shebechsav. Now, all the other Sifrei Tanakh are be'etzem Torah Shebechsav. Do they have to have a Torah Shebal Peh? Of course they have to have a Torah Shebal Peh. We won't understand it without the Torah Shebal Peh. But they have a metzius, they have a reality as an independent entity of Torah Shebechsav, And then there's the Torah Sheba'al Peh that, of course, we need to help us understand it. Not so Megillas Esther. The reason why the Sifrei Tanakh have an essence of Torah Shebachsav is because Torah Shebachsav, Shem Havaya, is Rebbeinu Shalom working lemala min hateva, and we can't understand how the Rebbeinu Shalom operates that way. We understand the Teva, so we have a Torah Sheba'al Peh that explains it to us. But there is no Shem Havaya entity of Megillas Esther, because Rebbeinu Shalom doesn't operate lemala min hateva. So the entire reality, the entire essence, the mahus of Megillas Esther is that it's a Torah Sheba'al Peh dika book of Sifrei Tanakh. There is no reality to Megillas Esther as just Shem Havaya. The reality of Megillas Esther is Melech, Melech, Melech. There is no Mitzias of Megillas Esther, Shem Havaya. Mamela, the Yerushalmi comes and tells us, V'zichram lo Yosef mizaram, there has to be a Masechta for Purim. Why does there have to be a Masechta for Purim? Because for Purim there's no Torah Shebachsav entity of Purim. It's not a Shem Havaya dika book. It's in essence, it's a Torah Sheba'al Peh dika Sefer. Because there is no Havaya in the Megillah. It's nikres, it's revealed, it's understood. Megillah, Nikres, B'Yud Aleph, B'Yud Beis, B'Yud Gimel, B'Yud Dal, B'Tesvav. The only way we understand Megillah Esther is Al Yidei the Torah Sheba'al Peh. The other books of Tanakh, there's an entity of Torah Shebachsav, there's an entity of Torah Sheba'al Peh. Of course, there needs to be Psachim, but there's Pesach as a separate entity from Psachim. There's no separate entity of Megillah Esther without Masechta Megillah. Masechta Megillah is part of Megillah Esther. Therefore, the Yerushalmi darshans, v'zichram lo Yosef mizaram, mikan shekavu chacham in Masechta. And therefore, the Gemara has a havamina. Amar Rabbi Shua ben Levi, chayiv likrois as a Megillah b'yoyim v'leshnoisa b'layla. They thought it meant savar minei to learn the Mishnah during the day. What do you mean learn the Mishnah? You have to learn Masechta Rosh Hashanah. You don't have to. You have to learn Psachim. It's a good idea, but it's not kaviyas hayoim. No, the Gemara had a havamina. You have to get up at the bima and learn Masechta Megillah. Otherwise, there's no reality to Megillah without the Torah Sheba'al Peh. There's another comment of the Rambam. The Rambam writes at the end of Hilchos Megillah, if you look at number 35, Kol Sifrei Hanaviyim Uksuvim Asidim Libatel Limais HaMashiach Chutz Mi Megillas Esther. All the Svarim of Tanakh will be batel, whatever that means, on some bechina, except for Megillas Esther and Chamisha Chumshei Torah. Listen to this: Harehi kayemes kechamisha Chumshei Torah ukehilchais shel Torah Sheba'al Peh she'enon betelim la'olam. The Rambam says. The Rambam says all the books of Tanakh will be batel except for Megillas Esther. Why? The Rambam seems to be saying it's part of Torah Sheba'al Peh. And then the Rambam quotes a pasuk. Shenemar v'mei hapurim ha'ela lo yavru mitoich haYehudim v'zichram lo Yosef mizaram. The same pasuk the Yerushalmi quotes that there has to be a Masechta on Purim, the Rambam quotes that Megillah will never be batel. Is the Rambam arguing on the Yerushalmi? You can learn two things from the same pasuk. So in Kunshas Chanukah Purim, they bring from the Brisker of that the Rambam learned that since the Yerushalmi says that there has to be a Kaviyas Masechta for Purim, Memela, the Megillah, has the status of Torah Sheba'al Peh, and once it has the status of Torah Sheba'al Peh, Memela will never be batel. So it's not two different drashas. From the Yerushalmi, we could learn it has the status of Torah Sheba'al Peh, and Memela will never be batel. So it comes out that Megillas Esther has very rare status. Every other book of Tanakh is a book of Torah Shebachsav. Every Masechta is Torah Sheba'al Peh. Megillah is the one sefer, Reb Tzadok HaKohen says, because the last book in Tanakh was Megillas Esther. It's the final book, even though maybe Malachi came after. But in terms of its closeness to the beginning of when Torah Sheba'al Peh began. So to speak, Megillas Esther is the bridge from Torah Shebachsav to Torah Sheba'al Peh. Ad Kidei Kach that we're learning that in a certain sense the Megillah has the status of Torah Sheba'al Peh. And therefore, that's the soid and the opening of the Megillah. Megillah Nikres, B'Yud Aleph, B'Yud Beis, B'Yud Gimel, B'Yud Daled, Lo Pachas, Lo Yoser. Megillah Nikres means the Megillah is only understood, the Megillah is only recognized, it's only Nichraz, Al Yidei 65, meaning Adnus, but on a deeper level, through the Torah Sheba'al Peh. Ksav Sofer writes that the Chaim Sofer every year before Purim would learn Masechta Megillah. Now we don't need deep reasons why the Chaim Sofer learned every year Masechta Megillah before Purim, but we don't necessarily find that he learned by every Yom Tov that Masechta. But apparently Masechta Megillah is different than every other Masechta. So it comes out like this. Megillas Esther is different than every other Sefer in Tanakh. It has a Bechina of Torah Sheba'al Peh. And it comes out Masechta Megillah is different than any other Masechta. Because other Masechtas, what they're being mevayer has an entity without them, but there's no such thing as Megillas Esther without Masechta Megillah. So I appreciate to have the opportunity to share some thoughts on Purim with Chashuva B'nai Torah. I appreciate the Rosh Yeshiva coming this evening, and I wish everybody bracha v'hatzlacha and a freilichen adar and Purim haba aleinu l'tova agitavach and siyata d'shmaya bracha v'hatzlacha. Thank you very much.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.